All right, guys, I'm back. We're in spot 3. As you can tell, I moved again. Uh, Only got one fish at our second spot. Uh, I am protected by the wind, so it's warm enough over here. I can take my jacket off. Uh, you can tell there's not a whole lot of wind on the water. I haven't fished this spot all year. I do have some brush and stuff out here in the water in front of me. I've got about an hour before dark. I'm going to try it and see what happens. Yeah, Georgia, we're back. I haven't fished this spot yet. Uh, it does give me a good wind block. As you can tell, I've actually got my jacket off again because the wind's off of me and the sun's hitting me. I've got some brush out here, and I've had good luck fishing in these brushy areas. So we're going to try it. I've got about an hour before dark, and I'm going to wait and see what happens, see if I can get another one. This area that I'm fishing right here, uh, this is known as Walker Creek. Goes back up in here, narrows down into a real narrow creek. And even during the spring when the crappie are running and stuff, they'll run up that creek. This is shallow water again. That creek channel is the only really deep spot in it. I have caught a lot of fish here in the past, but I have not fished it in a while. So today's kind of, we're going to see what happens. Looks like a different lake from my last live to this one. Yeah, it's much calmer here. I don't know if that's going to help us or hurt us, uh, but I'm hoping there's some fish up in here. I know I can handle it a lot better. It's a lot warmer over here than where I was. You don't see all the chop on the water and the waves. I was going to try my spot on the other side, but there's quite a bit of wind coming in there, and I thought it might be too much trying to record and video. The last spot was so windy, I had to put my phone up inside the vehicle because you could just see it spiking on the mic on the broadcast entrance. So I knew there was too much wind. This is one of the spots I was talking about earlier about all these little willow trees and stuff in the water. Man, you can come down here in a small boat and go out there with jigs and them small willow branches, and those crappie will nest up in them willow roots and make their beds, and you can hammer the crappie here. I haven't fished this exact spot in a couple of years, uh, so I used to come out here and catch lots and lots of catfish. Once again, during the spring and stuff, when they move up shallow to spawn and start pulling into the creeks and stuff, it's a really good spot. It may be a little early. Uh, there's not a whole lot of deep water here. But I need to catch Mama a couple more eater catfish. That last spot I left, as soon as I shut off the camera from recording, I had another one hit it, but they're either turtles or they're short hitting the bait and they're not getting the hook. And I just went ahead and packed up and come over here, and I got out of that wind. It's a lot easier for me to move than it is chunky in them. I don't have the wagon and all the lights and all that stuff. A lot of these places around here where I fish, I can drive right up to the water. Georgia, do you know if Flint Hill or Fishing Magician or any of the other guys that were live were catching any? I kind of wonder how the other guys that were live today did. That's the only bad thing about fishing live yourself. You kind of miss uh, everyone else's live streams. I'll have to go back and watch them. There's a rock bridge with rock on it right here, uh, just south of me. You can go out on them rocks and hit deeper water and get in that channel. But I'm not walking down all them rocks. My legs and stuff, it'll kill me. So I figure I got an hour of daylight left. I'll sit here and see what happens. I have seen other people fishing this spot, but I'm not sure if they ever caught anything or not. Hey, Great Outdoors, how's it going? 2.0 hadn't caught anything yet. That boy's been putting in the work. I hope Mark catches a good one. I was watching Flint Hill, watching his live when I left the house to come out here, but I've been out here all day, so I've kind of missed the live stream, so I didn't know what kind of luck anyone else was having. We caught one, uh, missed a couple more. I think they were short hitting the bait, and I've got about an hour of daylight left, so I decided to move over here and get out of the wind. It was really windy at my second spot. I spent about an hour and a half there, had one fish. We spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the first spot, and I didn't get a bite. It's the same spot that I had got onto the fish the other day, 2 days ago, I believe it was. They were up in there feeding pretty good, but today they're kind of laid back. Kind of hoping the fish should be active over here. It's kind of nice to get out of that wind and still be able to catch fish. A lot of these spots I fish later in the year, in the spring when the spawn's going, and when the water temperature is real warm. But so far, all my fish this year I've caught in shallow water. So I thought I'd come give this a try. I know the bite definitely hasn't been on like it was a couple of days ago. A couple of days I spent 2 hours in the first spot, didn't have a bite, moved to another spot, and I didn't even get all the rods in the water before the fish were biting. Today has not been the case. Which a lot of it I think has to do with the wind. Our wind keeps changing direction so much. Hey, welcome back, Georgia. It keeps changing direction so much it won't stay consistent. We get a couple of days with south winds that stays consistent. I think the fish activity will pick up. I'm trying to get out as much as I can before the fronts hit. We got cold weather coming in, and it's going to drop our high temperatures down into the low 30s. So it'll kind of shut my fishing off for about a week, and then it'll have to warm up a couple of days to get the fish active again. Great outdoors. I'm using fresh cut shad. That's the main forage fish in this lake. Shad and bluegill are your two primary bait sources, and I usually don't use the bluegill or live shad until spring. During the winter, cut bait seems to work better. I have used other baits. I've used goldfish, crawdads, Danny King's punch bait, uh, red worms. I've had luck with all of them. Certain times of the year, they all work really well. But during the winter, cut shad, if I can get it, is my favorite bait. Right now, the shad are kind of hard to get to, especially from the bank, because they're staying in about 20, 20 to 30 foot of water. So you don't have a boat, you can't get out there on them. They're kind of hard to come by. Luckily, I got a place I can go, and you can't catch them with a cast net, but you can catch them on rod and reel. It's a different lake that I go catch my shad out, and I'll usually go catch early that morning or the day before I know I'm coming fishing, and I'll bring the shad with me. When the water heats up, uh, a lot of these shallow coves like this, there'll be lots of shad in, and I can break my cast net out, catch them here. Yeah, great outdoors. I don't have skipjack here. I wished I did. Uh, I want to come and fish some of the big rivers and stuff just so I can fish with the skipjack and catch the skipjack. I think catching the skipjack as bait would be fun just out there. I see them using jigs and Foley spoons a lot, catching the skipjack, and they look like they'd be a blast just catching bait. If we had some skipjack here, I'd definitely use them, especially in the spring and summer. I like to use the bigger baits for the bigger fish during that time. And as Steve Douglas says, with them big old skipjack, you can make some chunky chunks. And there are big fish in this lake. So a lot of times, at least on one of my rods, I like to keep a big bait out there. During the wintertime here, you really have to downsize your bait. But I have been catching decent fish. The other day, I caught one 20 to 30 pounds. I don't ever weigh them. I need to get a set of scales to weigh these fish with. I just kind of eyeball them. I can see fish jumping out in that brush way out there, but I'm not that far out there, close to that main channel. The other spots I was at, I was seeing a lot of carp activity when I first got there, and had fish swimming into my line between the bank and my sinker. But the, even though the carp and stuff were active there, I was not getting a lot of catfish activity. It's definitely nice right here in this spot. I'm out of the wind. It's warmed up. I'm ready for warm weather. Ready to get my wife out fishing with me. She loves to fish, and I love to have her fishing with me. I hope we get to spend a lot of time fishing together this year. I really was blessed enough to find someone that liked to fish. My wife loves to fish as much as I do, and she takes pretty good care of me. A lot better than what I deserve. I'm lucky to have her. Sure, I'm glad I got her. Trying to get her to get out of being camera shy to where she'll come do some of the lives with me, but she don't mind me being live while she's fishing with me. She'll just stay out of the camera. Trying to get her over that. It's great to have a wife that'll come fishing with you. Great outdoors. You were saying you were having trouble getting shad during the summer, but you could get your hands on skipjack. I know a lot of the guys I watch that fish with that skipjack, they actually prefer it in the summer. Uh, they'll fish with that skipjack. They just seem to go towards the gizzard shad more in the wintertime. Even though the fish haven't been biting that good, it's been a great day out on the water. Nice to be out here. I've been fishing most of the day and I've not seen one other fisherman. I pretty much had the lake to myself. I would like to get a couple of more before I go home, though. Hope Fishing Magician and them are still live when I get home. I'll check in on them and see if they've done any good. I was watching Chunky last night. I sure was hoping he'd get on a fish. Chunky's fun to watch. His glow in the dark rods, and I call him the king of bling. My wife seen his fluorescent rods, and now she wants some. You can tell a big difference. The spot I just left and this spot, as far as the waves and the water. Having a wind block makes a big difference. It's still pretty windy on the other side to the south of me where I was going to go. So I decided to pop over here just so I could be out of the wind. It seemed like a good idea, even if the fish don't like it. Last spot I was in, I was there quite a while before I ever got a bite. I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity on the top of the water here. So that doesn't always mean there's not fish here. I know wintertime can definitely be some tough fishing. You just have to keep moving around, finding the fish, and it changes from day to day. The bite could be on fire in one spot one day, and you can go back the next day, and the fish have already moved out, moved somewhere else. It's like an adult game of hide and go seek. Man, it's pretty out here today. If you can get out of that wind, it's nice. It may not be the best for fishing, but it sure does feel good on the body. Keep watching the water to see if there's any bait fish activity. You don't have a lot of strong wind back in this spot right here. And with that sun up and this shallow water, it'll heat that shallow water quicker. And a lot of times it'll attract the bait fish. This is our third spot today. Just have not found a concentrated group of fish. They seem to be more active in the rougher water with the wind coming in. But with that wind, you can't hardly uh, record a video. We did manage to catch that one, and definitely more than I would have caught sitting at the house on the couch. Yeah, I've seen another big old carpet look like come up. This place here, the brush is a little bit farther out in the water than the other places I was fishing. Uh, the other places I wasn't casting very far. I would kind of keep it close just try and stay out of that brush, and uh, the fish seem to be up in there. This spot here, you can cast a pretty good ways without getting up in the brush. We got enough shad out there right now. We ought to be putting out a pretty good scent trail, though, if there is something cruising through. That's part of fishing, guys. You just never know. You could go for hours with not a bite, and all of a sudden it just comes to live, and you may get bites on every rod you got in the water. You just never know. That's why they call it fishing. Hey, JV, how you doing? Lori? Yeah, Lori, I'm definitely chasing them. This is my third spot. I had about an hour of daylight left, and I moved over here trying to get out of that wind. Uh, I haven't fished this spot in a couple of years. During the springtime uh, and into summer, it's a pretty good spot, but I just have to wait and see what happens. Last spot, wind kind of got up. I managed to catch one there, and had a couple of bites that were kind of like short hitting the bait. Decided to come move over here. And these lakes and stuff, these fish move around a lot. The spot I was the other day and was just on fire. I couldn't even get my rods all out in the water before the fish started biting. I went over there and tried that earlier today, and spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours there, and they just weren't active there. Yeah, I'm definitely ready for some warmer weather, but it got up in the low 50s today. Wouldn't have been bad uh, if you're out of that wind. That wind is definitely blowing up. There are fish out here in this brush jumping around. Some of them are carp. I see busting the top of the water and feeding up in there. So there are signs of fish activity. Yeah, there's nothing like seeing that rod fold over, Lori. It sure gets your adrenaline going. Uh, that's one thing I like about down here. These fish are really aggressive, and two of the rods I'm using are the Shakespeare Ugly Stick medium actions, and man, you get even a 3 4 pound blue cat on there, and he'll just lay the rod over, and it's really fun. Hey, Big Slim, on them little medium action rods, It don't have to be a monster to put up a good fight. Kind of like it, catch them in the shallow water anyway. A lot of times you reel in them and you set that hook, that fish will come up and bust the top of the water, and almost like a bass exploding on a top water lure. And in this shallow water, they seem to fight harder. They have a lot more energy. Looks like we've been live for about 36 minutes. About time for these fish to start doing something. The other spot I was at, it was so windy I had to keep my coat on. It was chilly. Over here with this wind block, I've got that wind off of me and that sun hitting me. I could take my jacket off and kind of work on a suntan. Yeah, a lot of times here, Lori, we have the cart and the gar and the drum, and there's hybrid and striper in here, and walleye. So a lot of times you'll get them popping the top of the water here, and even some of the crappie and the largemouth bass. This lake has some huge gar in it. Uh, you'll catch them up in here when the bait fish and stuff are up in here. You'll catch them gar cruising the banks, and there are some 7 and 8 footers in here, pretty common, and they get big. And they will sure get you excited because that gar will hit that rod and bend it over, and you just can't get a hook in them. Fishing with live bait, they will wreak some havoc on some live bait. I'm hoping some of the guys that went live today had better luck than I did. It's been a struggle moving around and finding them, but I was lucky enough to at least get the one. I know up around DC, I know Chunky's had a rough time here lately. Uh, Fish just are not cooperating. There when another fish just jumped. A lot of the times, even in the winter, if that sun gets up high and gets warm, starts shining down into that water, it'll heat this shallow backwater up, and you'll start to see a lot of fish activity back here. One thing that's hurt us is the wind. It's been blowing really hard and it won't stay consistent. It may be out of the south for a day, then it'll switch to the north, and then back to the south. But if we get good warm temperatures like this up in the 50s and get the wind out of the south uh, consecutive days in a row, it'll really start to improve the fishing in these shallow back coves. Thanks, Lori, for stopping in. JB, I'm using fresh cut gizzard shad. That is the main forage fish in this lake and most of the lakes around here. And cut shad in the wintertime is one of the best baits you can use. In the spring and summertime, live shad works well and live bluegill. This particular lake here that I'm on, uh, I've caught uh, catfish on crawdads, punch bait, goldfish, perch, shad. When they're feeding, uh, they will hammer just about anything. I'm kind of new to the circle hook. I have not yet tried fishing with the crawdad on circle hooks. I'm gonna have to check that out because in the spring, especially when the creeks start running into here, uh, crawdads is a really good bait. I want to figure out a different way to rig them though with the circle hooks. Come on, fish, do something. With all these other fish jumping and hitting the top of the water, you'd think there'd be a hungry catfish in here somewhere. I know that sun's starting to go down. Time is running out. Wintertime is definitely some rough fishing, guys. It can be hit and miss. You can be on them one day, go back to the same spot the next day, and they're just not there. But I definitely want to get out and try it before the cold weather hits. Do I ever night fish, JB? Yes. Especially in the summer, uh, when it gets really hot during the day, I love to come out and night fish. uh, especially bank fishing, because then fish will come up out of that deeper water and pull up into these shallow water coves and stuff, and start feeding real heavy. And you can really get into the fish at night during the summertime. Summertime seems to be the best time of night fishing. Uh, I don't know if the fish are like us, and during the day it's just too hot for them to move around. You can catch some fish during the day during the summer, but it seems like I always had better luck uh, catching not just numbers of fish, but the quality of the fish. Seems like the bigger fish were moving at night. So I will definitely have some live streams uh, coming from the bank at night. This lake here, Eureka Lake, there's not a whole lot of places from the bank uh, you can hit deep water. Uh, it's got a lot of shallow flats and stuff on in it. There's a couple of spots I can fish deeper water at. So far, I've not got a bite there, but after today, like fishing up shallow and seeing the shallow bite was slow, uh, next time out, I may hit one of them spots that's got 25 to 30 foot of water and try them again and see what happens. There's one spot I really like. It's got deep channels that come up into it, stumps. It splits off and forms two little creeks, but it's also got shallow rock ledges. And flathead love to come up in there, and you'll get the striper and stuff push the shad up in there, and they will be feeding so heavy on them shad, it'll look like the water's boiling. And a lot of times you'll get them catfish pushed up in there, and you kind of got a variety. You can fish shallow or deep. But yeah, I definitely do like to do some night fishing. I'm gonna try and get some new rods in that are easier to see at night, and do some things to try and improve the video quality at night to where you can really see the rods. I'm not going to go as in depth as Chunky did with the fluorescent rods and the black light and all that. A lot of the times when we night fish, uh, my wife would go by a Dollar Tree or dollar store, and them glow sticks for kids. She would get a bunch. We'd take them and tape them with electrical tape to the bottom of the rod, and at night you can really see your rod tip good. And they're cheap. I think she'd get like five of them in a pack for $1. They really worked good. That's a cheap little fishing hack for a lot of you guys that like to night fish. Them glow sticks are cheap and they work good. They're easy to take off. You just take the electrical tape off, throw them away, get you another one. I keep a roll of electrical tape in my tackle box just for that purpose. I normally have extra glow sticks and stuff in there, but we pretty much went through them all. Come on, fish, let's do something. In all this water with all them carp and stuff moving, there's got to be a catfish in here somewhere. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. I know Chunky and a lot of them up in DC were fishing at night, even during the winter. But we tried it a couple of times down here already, and you would be catching them during the day, but as soon as that sun set and it got dark, it would just go dead. And we just end up sitting around the fire trying to stay warm. I think a lot of the reason it works better up there too is uh, in that Potomac River that they're fishing. They've got deep water. They've got a lot of deep water holes. And from the bank here, most of these lakes, it's going to be shallow water fishing. So you have to target active feeding fish and uh, target spots when they're actually up in the shallows feeding. There was a bird or something that just went by that sounded like it about buzzed my head. That's just part of fishing, guys. You never know unless you go, and you got to go out, spend the time on the water, try different spots, and sometimes different baits, and just find out what works. There is no magic formula that works every time. You just got to experiment and see what works for you. Hey, Catfish and Dreams. Yeah, this is my third spot, and I'm kind of hiding from the wind so I could actually take my jacket off. Second spot was pretty windy. Uh, got pretty chilly. Had a couple of bites. I did catch one, probably 3 or 4 pounds, nothing great big, and decided to move over here. Had a little bit of daylight left, and I haven't fished this spot in a couple of years. And since the fish have been up shallow and stuff, I thought I'd stop over here and try this little shallow cove and see what's going on and get out of the wind some. That's one of the biggest obstacles in Oklahoma fishing is the wind. You'll see a lot of people trying to get out of the wind. I'll trade. It's going to be negative 22 Sunday morning. No, no, thank you, Catfish and Dreams. We've got cold weather coming in. Uh, it's supposed to drop our temps. Our highs are going to be down in the low 30s. It's going to stay that way for about a week. and I'm trying to get out as much as I can before that cold weather hits. Because for like a week, I'm going to be stuck at home, and I don't do good stuck at home, not being able to fish. Our temperatures usually don't drop that low here. Uh, we'll usually stay around zero or just below. The only problem we have here is you get out there and it's 19 degrees and you got a 45 to 50 mile an hour wind pushing behind it, drops that wind chill way down. And it doesn't seem like it matters what you do, that wind just cuts right through you. I'm ready for them 60-degree nights in the spring chasing flathead. You, me, and everybody else. I think everyone else has had enough of winter. Everyone is ready for them big flatheads, and I'm ready for the warm weather to where my wife will get out and fish with me and do some night fishing and camping. A lot of times I like to go out and camp and fish, and you can't beat cooking out on a open fire. For some reason, when you cook outdoors, the food always tastes better, and it's definitely some good times. And the fish definitely bite better. Wintertime is definitely a struggle, slower bite. Uh, they come out of that winter pattern though, and the spring comes up and they start getting ready to spawn, and man, and there for a little while they feed pretty hot and heavy. It can get definitely exciting. Yeah, JV, we don't have pike down here. I watch a lot of videos. Them guys get on the northern pike and muskie and stuff, and man, them fish look like they are some tanks. Streamlined, but they fight really hard, and you'll see them hit some great big, huge lures and stuff. So as soon as the water hits 65 degrees, you're solely targeting flatheads, catfish, and green. I don't ever just target the flatheads. We have a lot of them that are swimming in the waters and stuff, but I will still catch the blues, uh, all different sizes. I love to catch fish regardless of size. Uh, the big ones, definitely love, and flathead are probably one of my favorite. Well, not one of my favorite catfish because they are just so powerful. Uh, every little twitch of their tail, you can feel it, and just that surge on that rod, you can feel them pulling against you. It, the power of a flathead, once you catch one, I think you're hooked for life. You'll never forget that feeling. Once the water hits 65 up there, uh, they go on a huge feeding pattern. We have channel cats here too, JV. Uh, they're a lot more of a pain to catch. They'll sit there and peck and peck and peck at that bait to where these blue cat come along, and if you don't have a good rod holder, your rod will be in the water. They hit like a freight train. A lot of the times, catfish and dreams, you can tell by the way that flathead bites too. Uh, Sometimes they will sit down there and play with that bait before they actually take it. And a lot of the times that flathead will pick that bait up and he doesn't actually run with it. He'll just swim off. Not always, but most of the time, the blues, when they hit, they are way more aggressive than a flathead. A lot of times, and flathead will fool you. You'll think, man, that's a dink messing with that bait. And he may mess with it for a while, and then all of a sudden, that rod will just fold, and they stick close to that bottom too. That flatheads do not like to come up. They will hug that bottom. Yeah, them flathead are definitely a different fish, and man, they are lots and lots of fun to catch. That's one thing I've never heard. I've never heard anyone that fishes for catfish say, "No, I don't want to catch no flathead." And a lot of the channel cats up north, I'm watching these guys, and man, they have some big channel cats up there. Uh, our channel cats don't get that big. Uh, Most of the channel cats around here, average size is 2 to 3 pounds. You get up there, and them guys are catching 10 to 20 pound channel cat, and I'm like, wow. And I bet them big channel cat would be a blast to catch. And that's strange how just different locations, different states, bodies of water, uh, the fish will be so much different. Uh, they grow to different sizes, different weight, and a lot of it, I think, has to do with their forage and how much food they have. Yeah, my home lakes and rivers, we have 50-pound flatheads. Lakes around me have 20-pound flat. Yeah, see, I would have a field day with a 20-pound channel cat. Uh, if I ever caught one, uh, I'd have pictures everywhere. They just started stocking the blue fingerlings in the Ohio inland lakes. Blue cats are definitely aggressive. I was kind of hoping to hit this last spot and get one before dark, but it doesn't look like the fish are going to cooperate. They're still hitting the top of the water out in that deep channel, but I don't see them coming up any closer. I know it's starting to cool off. I'm going to put my jacket back on. Yeah, them 20-pound channel cat and stuff, that would be a blast. Wow, 110 foot deep. Yeah, that's a deep lake. 'Em. I think most of our lakes around here probably 65, 70 foot deep max. 110 foot deep. That's definitely a deep lake. You got that much depth in the area, there's no telling what's living in that thing, though. That's like the wind finally laid down right at dark. It always does that here. I don't know why it waits till it gets dark for that wind to let up. We may not get another one to bite, but it's sure not from lack of trying, guys. This water closer to the bank here, it's almost like glass. It's so slick. Yeah, that's one thing that helps out here, catfish and drains. Is this lake has a lot of structure in the water. They have designated areas for guys to go and ski that are cleared out, but you don't have a lot of them guys just flying through here. Uh, we've had several people sink their boats, and people actually drowned on this lake because they don't know it, and they come up here with their bass boats and want to run 50 and 60 mile an hour across the water, and they'll hit one of them underwater stumps, and it'll just tear the bottom out of that boat. And that's one thing I can't stress enough, guys. Where you get your boat out on a body of water, make yourself familiar with it. Uh, Most of those accidents like that could be avoided if guys would just take the time to get familiar with the water and learn the lake. I know them guys in them bass tournaments and stuff, they're in a hurry, but when I'm out fishing, there's no fishing spot that I'm going to that I need to run 60 mile an hour across the water to get to. And them stumps in the water, they will do a number on a lower unit, and they can kill some props in a hurry. I've seen a lot of guys out here, and they'll hit one of them stumps and spin their prop. They don't ever bring a spare prop, and they're constantly having to get towed back. Man, I always kept two extra props on my boat, just in case. Yeah, catfish and dreams. I see a lot of that on YouTube. I notice a lot of the other boats up around there, people would be fishing. Uh, there is no common courtesy. There is no respect. Uh, like buzzing by each other on the boats and stuff. Uh, man, up here they have lake patrol, and if they catch you acting a fool, they will pull you over, inspect your boat, write you a fine for everything they find, and kick you off the water. People are out here with their families, trying to fish and have a good time, and they're not going to let people come out here acting a fool and ruin it for everybody, which is a good thing. And they are public waters, and everyone's got a right to be on the water. But that does not mean you cannot be courteous and respectful to the other people on the water. Respect goes a long ways. And I honestly think they ought to go back and make it to where guys have to take a boating class, not just come out here, buy a boat, and jump on the water and go at it. They need to teach them boat safety, teach them how to operate the boat correctly. Only seen DNR once, and they were just driving around all the boat ramps. Yeah, they don't do that here. They have an actual police boat on the lake, and he will watch them guys. And you go through a no wake zone or something like that, or inside the buoys, and you don't slow down, or you're buzzing fishermen on the bank, uh, they will they definitely stop them and work them over. The old fisherman had like 6 or 7 boats all around where he was fishing in one video I watched. Yeah, sometimes it's like that up here with the crappie, Georgia. And I used to keep a rod in my boat with an 8 ounce sinker on it. And might sound crude, but them guys would get right up against me trying to fish and stuff. I would go to throwing that 8 ounce head, and you whack one or two of them, and they'll get the point and slowly move. Yeah, JB, there's you don't have that respect that you used to have. I'm kind of raised old fashioned. I still believe in the old ways, and I respect everybody until you give me a reason not to. It costs absolutely nothing to be respectful and polite to people. This water's like glass out here. I got a picture of a sailboat at midnight with no lights. Yeah, Catfish and Dreams. You see a lot of them guys out there, and they'll go out in kayaks and boats, and no lights at all. And man, that's so dangerous. Doing stuff like that, you're just asking for trouble. That's exactly right, Georgia. Uh, that fishing spot is not going anywhere. Uh, it'll be there when you get there. You can slow down and be courteous and polite to people. Uh, that's like me. A lot of guys ask me, "Are you catching fish?" And I'll tell them yes, and they're like, "If you don't mind, where are you catching them at?" I'll just tell them. I don't try and keep any spots secret. I share my information with other people because I want them to be able to come out and get on fish and catch fish also. Uh, there's plenty of fish in this lake. There's plenty of spots to fish on this lake. I won't go and crowd somebody out. If I see somebody fishing there, I will go find a different spot. Like I tell my wife, if you want to fish a certain spot on that lake, get out there early. And even if you know the fish are not going to bite uh, till later in the day, get out there early, secure your spot, and you've got nothing to complain about. But I've had people come up and get so close to me every time they're casting out, they're throwing over my lines and stuff. Uh, that's not a fun fishing trip. And I'm polite to anybody, but if you crowd that much and you're casting over my lines, there's going to come a point where I'm finally going to have enough and I'm going to say something. Lake Wise, my home lake, it's nicknamed the Dead Sea. Yeah, I love to see other people catch fish. Uh, women, young kids, uh, they are so excited. And when they catch a fish and stuff, uh, I get just as excited as they do watching them. Another reason I love fishing with my wife. She gets really into it. And she'll talk trash to them fish if they take her bait. She she sticks with it. A lot of times I fish with her, it's not even catching fish that makes my fishing trip. It's watching her and listening to her. These fish have been absolutely dead at this spot. Uh, I've seen stuff farther out in the water busting the top, but up here close, these catfish and stuff. But it was worth the shot. I knew I was running out of daylight and wasn't quite ready to just go home. All right, catfish and dreams. I'll catch you later. When my dad was alive, if I sped past someone without slowing down, he would make me go back and apologize to them, and rightly so. Exactly, Georgia fisherman. It's sad to say, but I don't think anybody teaches their kids respect and manners anymore. It's kind of like a dying art. You can go out to the stores, even the local Walmart, and you hear some of these young kids talking to their parents. Uh, Man, my mama, if I would have talked to her the way some of these kids talk to their parents, she would have beat me 7 ways from Sunday. I promise you. And there was no safe zone with my mother. My mother could be driving down the road with one hand and smack you around in the back seat with the other and never swerve or bobble. It does good though. The other night at the knot tying contest, uh, there went another one just jumped. When Robbie come in, uh, such a very well mannered young man and very passionate about fishing and the sport. Uh, his parents definitely did something right. When I see kids like that, uh, it gives me confidence and some sort of hope for the future generation. I was kind of hoping Robbie was going to win it. He's a great young man. I think that's carp that's been hitting the water out here, but if them carp are all up in here, you'd think the catfish should be up in here too. At least that one was a lot closer to us. Yeah, that's what I used to tell my kids too, Georgia. I brought you into this world, I can take you out. Yeah, the way everyone pitched in at the end of the contest and started donating stuff to Robbie, uh, man, if that does not touch your heart and make you proud to be part of this catfish community, something's wrong. Uh, he was such a great young man, and uh, I thought it was funny when Kevin got to the end and he asked Robbie what kind of reel he wanted. Kevin was thinking the Chaos 50 or the 60, and Robbie wants that Alios reel. He's a great kid. I loved watching him. When he first come out, that first round, uh, man, if you go back and watch his little hands, he was moving so quick tying them knots. He looked like a little sewing machine. And I thought, man, this kid is fixing to smoke everybody. He was on fire. Yeah, it was great watching everybody pitch in for Robbie. Guys, that's really the future of fishing. poor stand 3 went up against Robbie that first round, and man, Stan barely got out the gates, and Robbie was done like flying. My wife come in there to see what I was screaming at, because I seen Robbie tying them knots and stuff, and I was up yelling. I like, look at this little guy go, and I mean, he was tying them knots. I was so excited watching him. Hi there, Lynn. Yeah, Robbie was definitely something else in them not tying contests. I tell you what, Palmetto, Kevin, he has been coming up with some great ideas. Uh, it's been a lot of fun. A lot of the events and stuff that he's been doing. Uh, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Uh, just like the Whisker Bowl coming up. Uh, I think that's going to be a big success. And Chris Flores with the Super Chat Give Back tournament. Uh, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be hard jumping between all 5 streams at the same time, going back and forth, but I think it'll definitely be fun. Internet connection sucks there. Yeah, Lee and I have that problem too. I live out in the country, and my internet was working fine, and uh, it just all of a sudden got real bad. And I called them, and they sent a tech out and checked the equipment. And basically, they're trying to bring one of their other towers up. They took on 9,000 customers in the last 6 months, and it's got to where I can't even stream a video or anything without it crashing. And I told them, I said, I'm not paying $80 a month when I can't even watch a video on it. Uh, the internet on my cell phone actually works better than my Wi-Fi. I told them, y'all's going to have to do something. Yeah, Kevin's done a real good job, Georgia. I know he's going to have to step up the game March 13th and that super chat getting back, because Steve Douglas is going to put them in the boat. Dieter may not catch any big ones, but Dieter Melhorn will put fish in the boat. Uh, Chris Flores, uh, I bet he catches them, and I'm hoping Chunky does. I'm hoping Chunky gets into them. He's been having a rough time finding the fish here lately, but Chunky is a blast to watch. And he's kind of like me. Even when the dink hits, he reels it in. A fish is a fish. Chunky still gets excited. And I love to listen to him laugh. Uh, I don't know where Mexicat's coming up with them little uh, Uncle Fester dolls. He calls it little chunky cat dolls, but I want one. Them things are neat. I told Mexicat the other day he needs to fix one of them dolls up that glows in the dark. Get some neon bling on him. Did y'all see that unboxing uh 2.0 did from Ricky's Creations? Tell you what, Ricky's Creation, uh he makes some awesome stuff. Those signs and stuff that he made, and if you have not checked out his channel, you need to go over there and just check out his channel, because Ricky is definitely neat. Uh, the power packs and stuff. I know just built art, finished art one. Uh, Ricky is just awesome. Mexicat puts out some awesome and funny videos. Yes, he does. I like watching his stuff because it's always hilarious. And, just like even in the knot time contest, he's in his suit. Yeah, that would not be a bad idea, Georgia, to have that put on some shirts and some hoodies. Ricky's creation he's just awesome. Uh, the love and the support that he shows the channels and the catfish community uh, is just great. And you have a lot of people out there. You can watch them. If you watch enough of the live streams and stuff, you'll notice the people. Becca Mudtramp, she's a great supporter. Uh, Painting services by Steve, he does a lot. You have a lot of these guys that donate stuff or do super chats that really help these channels out. And Maurice Cason, bless his heart, uh, he's having a rough time right now with his wife, medical problems and stuff. But Maurice is a great supporter of the channels and a great man. And there are a lot of people out there that support the catfish community, and as well as different YouTubers are starting to support each other. Uh, it's great to see everybody come in and pull together for a common goal and grow everything. Uh, the virtual catfish conference is coming up. Uh, kind of sucks that it's got to be virtual and not real life, but at least we still will be able to participate. I think it's going to go over well. Uh, it's definitely going to be interesting. There's so much happening in the catfish community. We're about out of light, guys, and these fish just aren't doing it. I'm glad everyone come in, and glad I got to visit with y'all, and y'all joined me. And I wish I'd have put more fish in for y'all, but that's fishing. That's just how it goes sometimes. And uh, I think I'm gonna get off of here and load up and call my wife and let her know that I'm okay, and so she don't worry. And I'm gonna head home and get on and see if I can find anyone else live and see how much well they're doing or if they had any luck. So, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for coming in, and we'll do this again. If my phone will work.